record button. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So, basically this is just like an interview about the MFOS program. Tell me when you like need to leave. I don't expect it to take like over an hour.
No, I
But...
have class at 12:50, so you have me until then.
Okay, awesome. So just for like transcription purposes, tell me your name and how to spell it like phonetically. Or like word by letter by letter. Sorry.
Don't worry. So my name is Nayelis. Um, yeah, you can call me Bosa if you want. But if it's easier for you, but yeah, it's Nayelis or Nayelis.
Okay, and can you spell that?
Nayelis.
Awesome. Okay, and so tell me, when and where you were born.
So I was born in Hialeah. So it's like I guess it's like a town in Miami. It's part of the Miami-Dade like metropolitan area.
Mhm.
So I was born and raised there, but my mom came 5 months pregnant with me from Cuba.
Okay.
So made in Cuba and born there by like the hair. Almost didn't make it.
Yeah. So when's your birthday?
My birthday's March 24th, so soon.
Yeah, it's coming up. How old are you turning?
I'm turning 22, unfortunately.
Oh no.
My 21st birthday was spent in quarantine, so
Oh, that's so sad.
the whole year. Yeah.
My first question really is like, what made you decide to go to college? Was it, like a school counselor? Was that kind of like a thing that your family expected?
So I don't want to say it was like a family expectations because I definitely don't feel like my parents have forced me to do anything that I don't want to do. Um, Especially my mom, she's very understanding. My dad's more of like the traditional way, but both of my parents, I think my dad is the only one. He went to vet school in Cuba, but my dad grew up in a farm, so it was just only natural for him to learn about animals because that's the only thing he knew about. So it's not like they had like the traditional, like I went to college, so do you, or like that immigrant sort of mindset that it's like, you have to go to college. Like my mom just sort of brought me into this country. She raised me and she always taught me like, you have to do your work and you have to do this and you have to do that. I never received help or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just sort of expected from me, so to say. But I do remember like certain conversations that I've had with my mom. And she always has told me like, like make a future for yourself and go to school and like that is the only way that you will ever be like well respected as a woman, and like no man will ever disrespect you, like anybody could walk away from your life because you're not financially dependent on anybody. So it's not like she said like, I came to this country for you to go to school, but sort of like that's what I got out of it. And I'm like, like I have to go to school. And like luckily it's something that has never really been a burden. Yeah, we complain here and there, but who doesn't? But it's something like, I don't know, it just sort of came natural to me that I have to go to school and I have to do this because I want to and because I don't want to disappoint my parents either. But I'm pretty sure anything I would do, my parents wouldn't really be disappointed.
Yeah. So, like, tell me about how your college application process was. Like, why did you choose UF? Like, what schools did you apply to? I know that was like a while ago, but
I remember. So to give you a little bit of background, my high school, I was surrounded around people who were very smart and competitive.
yeah.
Well, I think that is what influenced me a lot into wanting to strive for more. Just because, like I said before, like I didn't have that in my household. Like my mom had no idea what college was, how college works. She still doesn't know, and I'm in college. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very hard for them to grasp it and understand. So, like, I guess I sort of found out, obviously, thankfully, with the influence of the internet, social media platforms, and like the people around me in high school. They were very competitive, and I guess like I just started hearing people talk about it. I'm like, oh, okay, like this is what you're supposed to do. But looking back at it now, I was definitely lost. And like I wish I knew what I know now back
Yeah.
then. And like it's so crazy because it was only 4 years ago, but I knew so little 4 years ago. And even though I don't know, I just feel like it was available online. I just didn't even know how to look it up or how to look up those resources. Or maybe I was even distracted with other things going on. I mean, I was very young. But my application process was definitely I think it could have been done better. And I feel like if it would have been done better, not that I wouldn't be here, I would choose, I always say it, I would choose UF 200 times if I could. Um, it was just a little difficult for me to like, you know, basically guide myself around it. But I remember I applied to FIU, which was obviously like the norm, given that everybody from, that was like my local college,
Yeah.
not college, but like university.
Yeah.
Um, I applied to FIU. I applied to I applied to FSU. I applied to FSU. Did I just say that? FSU,
Yeah.
yeah. UF, I applied to Fordham in New York.
Yeah.
And I applied to Syracuse
Okay.
in New York.
Yeah.
So I got into Syracuse, I got into Fordham, I got into FIU. FIU was my first acceptance. And I had an error with my application in FSU. But at that time, I was like, ah, who cares? I'm going to go to UF. And then waitlisted me and then accepted me. And then I never really thought about money, believe it or not. I never thought about money. I was just like, oh, whatever. I'm just going to go like wherever they accept me. Like if they accept me in Syracuse, I'm going to go. Because
Yeah.
my dream was always to go to school in New York. Oh, and I applied to NYU, but they denied me. And I remember exactly what I was doing. And I submitted UF just because like everybody was like, you have to apply to all the state schools. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll apply to UF. And I remember I was in my mom's car and I was finishing my essay that same day. And I don't know how I was able to send it to my phone. I don't know how I did that. I think I airdropped it or something like that. And I remember at 11:57, I submitted my UF application the day it was. I even remember the time and everything. I submitted it while I was in the car. I was like, oh, who cares? Like, I'm probably gonna go to FIU. Like, like it doesn't matter. And then I remember getting that acceptance and I started crying and I'm like, oh my God, like this is so surreal. Like, and I never really felt like that for any of my other acceptances, which is crazy. And like, I initially wanted to go to FSU. I feel like more than like any other school, but definitely it was either or FSU. And then I was like, whatever, if anything, FIU, just because it's like my safety net,
Yeah.
And then I got into UF and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then I was like, wait, how does the financial thing work? Like how can I afford that? Like I talked to my parents and they're like, look, like we can't help you out.
Yeah.
So that's where MFOS sort of comes into play.
Yeah. So how did you figure out that like you were a part of MFOS, or did they like give it to you in like a scholarship package?
So basically how MFOS works, I'm an ambassador for them. So I kind of know a little bit of them,
Yeah.
like a lot. I love MFOS. So basically how it works is that you can't really apply for it. It's just given to you. I didn't know that at the time. And fortunately, one of my roommates at the time, she's been my friend since second grade. I would guess you can say acquaintance, because we roomed together, but we were more acquaintances than anything.
Yeah.
And she was the one that sort of explained to MFOS, and she's like, hey, look, like there's this program, MFOS, they reach out to you and like you basically get a full ride. I was like, wait, how does that work? And I don't know exactly how it was that she found out, and now I'm curious as to how, but she knew. And then I was like, okay, like she sort of gave me like this safety net and like, form of security. And I think it was from one of our teachers that has like sort of helped people get into like college before.
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to help me out and to basically tell me that. And then eventually like I received an email and I applied for it, but not applied, I sent in my documents and it was pretty good. Unfortunately, some people in the financial aid office weren't very like helpful,
Yeah.
so to say. So like it's definitely not the same experience that I would have had if I would have spoken with Erica or like Richard or
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, because they're so helpful. But I had an issue with the document and the lady was just very rude and didn't really know how to explain it to me. But I thought I wasn't going to be able to get it, but everything ended up working out,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sort of like they reach out to you and you apply, or like not apply, but like send in your documents and see
Yeah.
like if you're eligible or not. But yeah, that's also that sort of worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So how has MFOS like shaped your college experience, if at all?
Oh, 100%. I think MFOS is my college experience,
Yeah.
honestly. I don't know. I think since the beginning, I was always very grateful, just because, I mean, that's how my parents always raised me to be. But like just the fact that I'm able to go to such a great school and like top 6, hopefully top 5 soon, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just so amazing, and I'm able to do it for free and like graduate debt free, which is something very, very important for me. And I didn't even know how important it was until like recently, like a couple, like maybe like my sophomore, junior year. And it's something that not a lot of people are fortunate of, experiencing. Like a lot of people have to have their parents pay it, and like by every means, if your parents could pay it, that's amazing, like good for you. But it's still money that I would have had to figure out how to get it, or just had to go to not a lesser university, but just maybe not have or be exposed to the same experience that I've been exposed to here at UF.
Yeah.
So because of MFOS, I'm here, like I'm able to concentrate on my studies without having to work, because I can pay, you know my rent, I can pay like my gas money, I can pay, like little expenses, my food, my even like little things that I want to buy for myself, or like, oh, I want to buy like, like just, I guess, like miscellaneous stuff. But sometimes even like amazing things, like I bought my iPad, because I saved up I think it was like a year, and I bought my iPad, like obviously for educational purposes, because I use it for school all the time.
Yeah.
But things like that, and like obviously not have to stress out my parents about the financial burden of like having me here, and my parents are both separate, like they're divorced, so it would have been difficult for, I guess, my mom just doesn't know how to say no, so she, even if she can't, like she'll do it.
Yeah.
And there's been times where she's literally sent me money without her having any, and I'm like, don't send me money, like I'm good, like I don't need money. Like there's been times that I've sent her money. My freshman year, I sent her money during the hurricane, because I was like, like I don't want you to stress or worry. Or vice versa, my dad sends me money every once in a while for gas and stuff, but it's not like, okay, like we need to figure out how to pay $600 of rent every month.
Yeah.
I think only like it's only stressful in the summer because I don't get financial aid, so I'm like, hey guys, like I need help, but like I prepare them a year in advance so they
Yeah.
save. But yeah, I mean, it would have been obviously a different ballgame if my parents were to have stayed together, but since they are separate, it's much more difficult
Yeah.
financially.
So like how did you kind of find the career path that you're going on to, and like where do you expect to be in the next year and the next 2 years? Are you planning to grad school?
Yeah. So also to go back to the last question, because I missed out on a couple things also. Not only has MFOS helped me financially, but it has helped me a lot. And I'm glad you asked this career question next, because like the people in MFOS, like Leslie, Erica, even Richard, like they just have been so helpful. Like since the get-go, they've always sat down with me, they've had checkups with me, even with the whole mentor mentee program that they have going on. Like it's a very community and like success oriented. Like it's not just like we're giving you money and like shut up, like it's like, no, we're giving you money and we're providing you like a backbone into like making your college experience what it is, and like making this process easy for you. Like I have had so many resources, I have linked to so many people, linked in the sense that I have, networks with so many people that have helped me even find my career path, that have helped me open my eyes on like different things, that have found me internships. Like they're just amazing, like, and like even if you need a shoulder to cry on, like not even from personal experience, but like I have, most of my friends are MFOS from
Yeah.
high school, and like they have literally said like I have gone to Leslie and like, or like Erica, and I started crying, and like she's just helped me, like, like she just figures things out for you, like it's awesome. Like, and I think that's what we need, especially first generation scholars. Like we're missing that support system just because our parents unfortunately don't know how to give us that support because they don't know themselves. So it sort of helps make you feel more at ease in a in an environment that you sort of hear like, yeah, my dad went to UF and my grandfather is an alumni, and my dad was is a doctor and he went to UF, and like my dad's a lawyer and my dad has a hedge fund, and it's like sort of the stereotypical type of like things that you hear, but it's very much true. You know what I'm saying? So it's nice to have that, like, you know, like, yeah, like your parents aren't, may not be successful, but like you're gonna be the successful parents and we're gonna help you get there, you know, if you don't want to have kids, obviously. But like, you know, like it's, I don't know, it's just, they really do create a support system. It's not just money. And then to add on to your question about my career, it's pretty funny. I came into UF wanting to be pre-med. So I was in HOSA in high school. Also, HOSA helped me out a lot in high school, because I was able to mingle with a lot of people and hear a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I was in HOSA in high school, and then I was in their like academic medical program. So I basically graduated with an EKG certification and like phlebotomy and all that. So I was like, okay, yeah, for sure, I want to be a doctor. Da da da. So I came into UF. I did 2 years. For like a year and a half, I was a little lost. I took a couple of classes that I needed, like math and stuff. I hate math. I actually failed my first class ever, my first semester here, and it was math. And then I was able to sort of just talk to people and realize, okay, like I took chem, I liked it, I love science, but I just don't think that this is a career path for me, just because I sat down and realized, you know, this is not something that happens, you know, overnight. Like you don't just go to school for 4 years and that's it, you're a doctor. Like
Yeah.
this is 12 years of the making, and like it's something that you have to sacrifice a lot and you have to really love it. And I do love it, but I don't think I love it enough to sacrifice that much time. So I sort of had that reality with myself, and it was really difficult. I still doubt it to this day, um, just because I'm a type 1 diabetic. So I'm very touched with medicine, and I want, like, I always find myself educating people when it comes to like type 1 diabetes. But like, you don't have to be a doctor or a nurse to educate people. You know, you can do it through other community outreach programs, or like, you know, like different things that you can do to educate, like, especially when it comes to type 1. Um, so that was sort of why I wanted to do it the most. And obviously, like, so my parents could brag about having a daughter that's a doctor.
Yeah.
But I quickly realized, you know, like, I'm not happy. And I saw the people around me not be happy because they were studying 24/7 and busting their brains out, you know what I'm saying? Trying to figure things out. And I'm like, you know, like, I can do it if I want to. I just don't think I want to.
Yeah.
So my roommate, who's also so my three roommates up until my junior year, we all went to school, elementary, middle school, and high school together.
Yeah.
We all went to UF together. And she's like, hey, like, you should try like public relations. Like, why don't you check that out? I was like, what the hell is public relations? Like, I was like, okay, I guess. And I took a class, and I'm like, wow, like, this is amazing. Like, this is exactly what I'm meant to do. Like, I love PR. I feel like it satisfied every area of like interest of mine. Like, I love talking, I love communicating with people, I love different types of businesses. I love when businesses do, like, at the time I didn't know what it was called, but like, you know, they have like foundations and programs and like community awareness. It's basically CSR, which is corporate social responsibility. I like crisis and stuff. I love fashion and a lot of different things that you can just mix in
Yeah.
with PR. And then I did PR for, well, I'm still in PR, but I did that starting sophomore year. And then my junior year, I took reporting, which is the worst class
Hard.
in the J school, but I loved it. And yeah, I didn't get a good grade, so to say, because I'm an A or B student, but I got a C. And like Foley says, like, the F word in the J school is Foley, you know? So like I had sort of like a love-hate relationship with him, but he really, really, really helped me out and made me realize like I like reporting. And it was just really nice because I'm the type of person that if I do something, I like my work being like come to fruit.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. Like, I would write stories and I would be bold and send them to like newspaper articles and stuff, and they would get published. So I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Like this is amazing. Like I want to do this. So I did that for a while, and then my advisor for my minor told me, "Hey, you should check out Noticias." And I'm like, "What's that?" And she's like, "Oh, it's basically like a class that does the headlines for WFT, which is our program, in Spanish." I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll check it out." So I spoke with the professor. The professor loved me. She's actually one of my mentors. Like I love her so much. And I took the sort of entrance exam, and I got in to the class, and I did that for 3 semesters, I think. Yeah, 3 semesters, and I was obsessed and still am. I miss it to this day. The only reason why I'm not doing it is because of COVID. So
Yeah.
since I'm like immunocompromised, I don't feel comfortable going in to
Yeah.
the newsroom every week up until I get vaccinated, and unfortunately that's happening this Friday, so it's too late, you
Yeah.
know. So I did that for 3 semesters, and I loved it so much. I was able to do reporting with the language that is my first language, but I'm not as comfortable speaking and professionally with. So it was a learning progress, and it was very hard and difficult to obviously like speak professionally in Spanish and have that reporter voice and all that stuff, and write stories and be in front of the camera. And she also made us like switch roles, so like we never did one thing. Like so I was the floor manager, the producer, the cameraman, a bunch of stuff, like the anchor, the reporter, the writer, the editor, like everything. So I learned a lot, and I think that if I would have still like if COVID wouldn't have happened, I would have probably taken a gap year and done that for a while, just because it's cool to say I was a reporter or an anchor for like this amount of years when I was young or whatever. But it's definitely a career that I see myself in and I enjoyed. But ever since I was in middle school, well, my mom's always has always said it since I was like little. She always said I was going to be a lawyer, and it's something that pitched my interest in like middle school. And I sort of just brushed it off when I started with medicine, and when I got diagnosed with type 1.
Mhm.
Like, like, no, I have to do this. I have to become a doctor and help people out. But then as I picked up PR, I realized a lot of relevance between PR and legal,
Yeah.
because you have to work with the legal team hand in hand, basically. Like you are the legal team without being the legal team when
Yeah.
it comes to PR. So I was like, you know what? Like I feel like this is something that I don't want to stop going to school, and I think that a JD would really benefit me.
Yeah.
So it's something that even if I don't practice law and I am not a practicing attorney, like it's a JD and it holds weight and value. And I think even it's expensive, but
Yeah.
it's expensive, but it's something that I won't regret, you
Yeah.
know?
I'm
So
trying to go to law school. So like I feel that.
yeah, so it's like it's something you won't regret. So yeah, that's sort of my path. Now, am I going to take a gap year? I don't know. I unfortunately I haven't felt very motivated to study with COVID. It's been really difficult to just sort of get on Zoom, do classes, do work, then get off, take a break, and then go back on, to sit in the same chair, same room where you sleep in, not have any like a different environment, and just study for something that's not due. You know,
Yeah.
it's been very hard, but I guess the first step is just being realistic with yourself, and it being okay, and it's not the end of the world if you do take a gap year. But yeah, I'm working towards sort of getting accepted in the fall. But if that doesn't work out, I'm open to taking a gap year and maybe even working at a law firm, or even if MFOS itself has like any openings, like in the office, I would love to work with them for my like gap year and stuff. But yeah, that's sort of what I have going for my career. Um, but like I said, like I also see myself doing PR or like even news. So it just depends, where life takes me, but definitely going to law school sometime,
No,
sometime soon.
yeah, law school has a lot of weight. Like I work with some lawyers, and my mom's also a part of the J school, like she's a professor.
Your
Um
mom?
yeah. She's the chair.
Wait, who's your mom?
Dr. Goodman.
Dr. Goodman?
She's the chair at advertising. So,
Oh my God, I think I spoke with your mom once. Do you do the news for in English? In
um I think they do.
Oh, I thought, do you do that?
Oh no, not me.
Oh, okay. Because I spoke to like a professor and she's like, oh, my daughter does it in English. And I'm like, oh my God, it's probably her.
No, not
I
me.
would have been like, well, that's definitely full circle. Dr. Goodman. No, I don't know her. I'm not advertising.
No, yeah, I know, but she was going to go to law school and she was like, look, people don't understand like the weight of a law degree has in a professional field. And so like even if like you don't end up practicing law, like it's still really important to understand, and especially in PR. Like she tells me that. She's like,
If you know the law, you know anything. Even with your
exactly.
own business, like you're just never gonna have anybody outsmart you. And I have, like, I'm sure your mom is a great professor because I love the J school. I have not had any bad experiences, even with the ones that are like, oh my God, like he's horrible. Foley is
I
probably
know.
one of the best professors that I've had. I kid you not. It's tough love, but he teaches you, and that's what a professor's supposed to do. Larry is super tough. Lawrence Clark teaches you, but like, like it's like that's like what you want and that's what you need. Like even if you don't pass a class, like I'm that type of person. Like at least if I learn something, I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was worth it. Um, and they always tell you that, like, in PR you work a lot with the legal team, and like a lot of my colleagues, especially Pat Ford, I'm taking him now for crisis comms. He always tells me, he's like, like a lot of the people that you sit down on the table with, like PR has the seat with like the board executives, and most of the people that you're working with have JDs.
They
So
do.
like just the fact that you are a PR, like a publicist with a JD, like or a PR practitioner with a JD, like it's so holds so much more weight and respect to your name. Especially, like, it sucks to say it, but like being a woman, you need all the respect that you can get,
Men.
outside of the work field. So like
Yeah.
definitely if you don't practice it, it's not like, oh my God, like, yeah, it's expensive, but whatever, it's worth it. I feel like, and I used to say, like, I took a class last year in the law school. I was like, all these students would come in and say, yeah, I don't want to be a lawyer. I'm like, what the hell are you doing in law school then? Like, why put yourself through all that torture, like reading 100 pages a week or God
Yeah.
knows more? Like, why would you ever do that? And they're like, oh, like, it's just like, I want to be a businesswoman, or I want to be an entrepreneur, and like I don't need somebody to write up my contracts, or I don't need somebody to write up my paperwork, or to talk to, God knows, like it's just everything revolves around law and legality. So it's like, might as well, know the law.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I'm in the same boat.
Are you
Um
a freshman or?
yeah, well like, credit wise, but I don't say that. Yeah, so I'm a freshman, but I really want to get like my PhD and my JD. I know that's a lot, but I
Yeah.
really want to be a law professor. Like that's really what I want
Oh,
to do.
that's awesome.
Yeah, my mom's a professor. She's been a professor my entire life, so I'm like, I want to be like my mom.
Oh
So
my God, that's really cool. I've actually never, like, not never heard, but like,
no, she's
usually you don't hear people say, I want to be professors. They usually do
no,
that down the line.
I know. So it's just like something I've always
Some
wanted to
people are
do.
born with it.
Yeah, no, think like I don't know if I am, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
awesome.
do you think that like MFOS has like pushed you to get not like pushed you, but like, built you up to get this like higher degree?
What do you mean by built me up? I'm sorry. Sage! My puppy, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. My cat, I'm surprised hasn't stepped up. Have they like supported you in your ideas, and like have they helped you kind of like maybe like guide you into a grad school program?
Hmm. 100%. I went to Erica 2 weeks ago crying because I didn't feel prepared for my LSAT that was scheduled in April. No, not April. I'm sorry, in February.
Hmm.
I was like, hey, look, like, I'm being realistic with you. I have not picked up a book as as much as I should, and I
Yeah.
have the LSAT in February, and I don't know what to do. And she's like, oh, like, do this and this and this and this. Let's move it. Applications aren't due until June. Priority is due in March, but who cares? Like, maybe they consider you. What if somebody waitlists it? Or what if somebody, like, what if they waitlist you? Or what if somebody denies it? Or what if they like you so much that they just accept you because you're a first gen, whatever, da da da. And then from there on, she even went to tell me, like, the UF Law School program 11 has a scholarship specifically for MFOS students. And every MFOS student that has gotten into the law school has gotten that scholarship. So even like things like that, like informing me on those types of stuff is just so helpful, you know. And then she's like, oh, like I don't have much information, but I'll try to get it for you. But that's just what I know. Or like if she doesn't know something, like she doesn't hesitate to say, not her only, it's all of them. Like, but in this case, I was speaking to her. Like they don't hesitate to connect you with somebody that is in the law school that was MFOS, or that is in the law school and was first gen, you know. And 100%, I feel like they have guided me in the sense that they sort of proved to me and show me that, like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes I let my head get to me, and like I tell myself no before even applying myself to do it. And you know, like, and it's just what she told me. She's like, don't tell yourself no before they do, you know, like, apply. Like, who cares if it's a no, then I do it next year. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's just you get so into your head, and then you get the whole, like, I don't know, like my mind just gets all flooded, and it's like, oh my God, like I can't do it. Like I sit, you know, like I got this far, but I see all these people getting these good scores, and that's it. I'm not gonna get into law school. It's like, no, like, you know, like they push and they're like, yo, you got this far, like you can keep going. Like, you know, don't get yourself too into it. Like, don't get too into your head. And definitely very helpful. They have even talked to me about this master's program that does like my master's for communications and then my JD. But it would have to be like, obviously my JD would be concentrated in like communications.
Yeah.
And I don't think I want to do that. Maybe I do, I don't know. But like, I definitely want to have the options to explore and then come up with what field of law I want to practice. But yeah, they definitely have helped me out. And like I said, even if they don't know, like they try to connect me with somebody that knows.
Yeah. So, do you think, I mean, this is kind of like far from what I just asked, but do you think like UF has built a community for first gen students, and like they really try and integrate them into like, you know, people who have like our fourth gen students? Because
yes and no.
Yeah.
I think that yes, even though MFWS is amazing and it's a fresh generation, you know, like sort of power club, I guess you can say. I don't know, like it's just so amazing. I really have no complaints. And I admire them so much for like, I'm sorry. Laura, can you get that? Oh, give me a second. Sorry about that.
No, you're okay.
Sorry? What kind of issue do you have in the kitchen. And I think we'll be here for 2 nights. Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm in a meeting, so like if you can, when you just finish, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, sorry about that. Really sorry. It was my meeting.
You're okay.
Just come in. Sage. I think that they could do a better job, 100%. Not MFOS, just the school itself.
Yeah.
Like, yes, even though MFOS is like a good program and it is supported by a lot of people, especially like, you know, President Machens, you know, and like even the former president of the school. I think that we can do a better job. And I think that this is only the beginning. And we shouldn't just accommodate just because we have this. Oh, okay, it's good enough. Thank you. We should work towards perfecting it, you know, and not just have the MFOS, maybe having another program for students that like, I don't know, are first generation, but maybe are not financially like
in need,
yeah, or burdened. Because I know a lot of first generation students that like are, you know, well off. Their parents never went to school, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But we should provide for them. Like, it's not even about the money sometimes, and that's what I was saying before. It's about like the guidance that we don't have because our parents are not there to guide us or to tell us, hey, like, you know, you got to do this and you got to do that. And like, I know, like, I have cousins that are first generation and their kids obviously are second generation students, and she does everything for them.
Yeah.
She calls IRS for them. She gets all the paperwork for them. She basically submitted all their applications, everything. She does everything for them. Talks to financial aid for them. And like in reality, like when you're a first generation, especially if you're an immigrant, like you have to figure that out yourself. Like I've been reading like, documents from like that my parents have sent since I was like 5, so it's like because they don't know the language. So I think that they can do a better job. And it hurts me to say it because I love UF.
True. We have our faults,
But yeah, definitely I think that you can't just open up a program and just be like, oh, okay, I'm doing something. Like, no, you have to do more,
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know where to start, but definitely they could do better.
No, yeah. Europe has a long way to grow.
Yeah, definitely. And that's part of like life, like every
Yeah.
good program has a long way to go. Nothing's perfect. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have any more questions, but if there's something like you would like to say about the MFOS program or maybe how, and I know you've like talked a lot about how you shaped it, so maybe just like describe your experience in maybe like a sentence or two.
oh, that's hard. I would just say, I don't know how to describe it in a sentence or two,
Yeah.
but
Sentences, it doesn't really have to be
yeah,
two.
I mean, definitely I'm not the person, like if I wasn't, because of MFOS is the reason why I am the person I am today. Because it's not just like, it's as corny as it may sound, it's like
Yeah.
the reason why I'm here. And I am not the same person I was 4 years ago. And that is like education wise, mentally, like even as like a friend, like it's just UF has shaped me so much.
Yeah.
Like it's been a great experience. I've met so many people, I've learned so much, I've become so woke on like different cultures and like just burst in my little bubble of reality that I had back home. And that's really important because it's like not everything is like your hometown, like it's like life is out there and it's very much real.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know, I'm very grateful for MFOS. And like I say it all the time, like I hope I'm able to make, some good bank to give back to the program. But I definitely say it. And I mean, take whatever you want from this statement. But like I always say, like, if I ever have that much money and I see these people that, as an ambassador, I meet these people that donate to this program and basically are sending me off to school.
Yeah.
And I admire them so much. I'm like, wow, I wish I could be in your shoes one day and do the same thing for people that were once in my shoes, and it's like, I would give back and I would donate not to the school, so to say, but to the program.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing what it has done to me. It really is great. Like I'm so grateful for it. I literally would not be here if it wasn't because of MFOS.
Yeah.
And I don't know who I would have been if I wouldn't have came to UF, to the point where I even want to be a double gator. Like I don't want to leave. Like I'm very passionate about the school. And even though with all its flaws and great things, I still support it, And I think that, like you said, like it's just room for growth and space. I guess definitely sort of what I had said about the first generation stuff, like about helping like UF itself helping first generation students. I guess it's being more welcoming to first generation students in like programs and like clubs. I remember like my sophomore and junior year trying out for certain like I guess like I don't want to say the names of it, but like extracurricular stuff.
Yeah.
That are very, very I don't want to say valued, but like are very prestige, so to
Yeah.
say, if you know what I'm saying. And um it just sucked because you felt very alone there.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, yes, MFOS is great because it provides you like the community support, but like when you leave that office and that auditorium with your MFOS scholars, you're just one in I don't know what number. You know what I'm saying? And you feel alone once again. So like if you're not very strong minded and like you don't really carry what MFOS tells you to like the actual like I don't want to say work field, but like your actual like like life experiences in college, then like you can easily fall into the trap of like, oh my god, I'm not good enough, like I'm alone, like da 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 da, and you're not. But
Yeah.
It's just a reality of things because you're surrounded by people that have been so successful, you know? So I guess that's what I would say. Like, just overall, UF has to work on diversifying and welcoming more people from different backgrounds in the sense of like whether it's first generation, whatever it is, um, and not creating such like niche communities like within like extracurricular activities and programs. But that's the only thing that I would say that I feel like I lacked like support with UF.
Yeah.
Because in every other area I have had either MFOS back me up or myself,
Yeah.
but for sure. And then I mean, I didn't fight for it hard enough, but I was like, you know what, like it's just not meant for me. And like it wasn't, because I ended up doing noticias as extracurricular, but like certain things like that I felt like I never gave up on. And I tried so hard to do, but like it just wasn't me. And I don't know if it wasn't me because of the way that the program is shaped.
Yeah.
Like, look, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to, I'm trying to word it without actually saying what I'm
No,
saying.
you're okay.
But yeah, definitely. But overall, I mean, it's just, I'm grateful for MFOS because when I did get denied from those programs, the first person I went to was Leslie and Erica and Richard. And they're like, it's okay, just try again next year. Or, hey, like, look, don't do that and do this.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, you're right. And they're like, hey, when I was an undergrad, I tried it. It didn't work out for me. And I did this. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And like, there's other areas of networking besides, the traditional way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say. They've definitely been great.
Yeah.
It's like a family for sure.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for talking to me. Like it
No,
was
you're
so
welcome.
nice.
I can talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
I
Also,
promise you.
this was so bizarre, but like my best friend's a type 1 diabetic. And I was like, when you said
No
that,
way.
yeah, I was like, girl, I know how you feel. Like,
Yeah, it's tough, man. Oh my
no.
God, that's awesome. How long has she been diabetic for?
So she was diagnosed when she was 6 and she's
Oh,
18.
wow.
Yeah. So like we both met in the hospital. Like it was a really funny story. But like, yeah, so
She goes to UF?
she's going to Santa Fe right now and then she's gonna transfer in.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, she has more experience down her sleeve than I do.
Yeah.
But because I always offer, like, if you need anything, like you let me know.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. Yeah. It's tough being a type 1 diabetic, but it's just a support system. So
Yeah.
another thing MFOS actually they just sent out an email about health insurance, like to know after you graduate, like things like that like usually like you don't really read, like you don't hear about these things. And like I don't know, they've even had like times where like they've had like law opportunities, and Leslie has personally sent me the email and says, I hope to see you there, Nayelis, like because she knows and they remember, oh, you wanna, like it feels good to be remembered,
Yeah.
and like have people looking out for you and for your success.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. I love meeting other diabetics. I feel like we're like a little family and
No, it is. Like we went to like diabetes camp when we were really young.
oh wow, I've always wanted to go, but I got diagnosed too late. I
Yeah.
got diagnosed at 15, so like I
Oh,
couldn't go, I think.
yeah. No, yeah, it was like one in Florida and like so it was just kind of like also been a part of my life. Like obviously I'm not affected as much as she is, but like, I've learned with her.
But you know so much about it. Like my best friends, whenever they work at Chase, and like whenever they have a patient come in that's diabetic, or like a coworker, my best friend had a coworker that she was diabetic, and she's like they're like so surprised that I know so much. And I'm like, oh, like my best friend's diabetic, so like I always see her like doing this and doing that. And like it's just it makes me happy that people like you guys that don't have the disease are well aware of it, because that's the only way that we're going to change the stigma around it and educate ourselves
Yeah.
about the disease. But yeah, like I said, there's other ways of
Yeah.
educating people with type 1 besides like medicine and stuff.
Well, awesome. So thank you for talking to me. I know you have class in a couple minutes, so I'm
Yeah,
just
I know,
gonna let
unfortunately.
watch some Netflix after. But thank you so much with meeting me. This was
You're
like
welcome.
super amazing.
Is this for your class?
Yeah, so we're like what we're doing is like we're doing a final project. So we're making like a documentary and also like a timeline of MFOS, and having like, links to interviews and stuff. But yeah, it is for my class. And so like this is technically like my final project. But yeah, like it'll be really interesting. We're trying to like get and we're also like making a mural in the MFOS office.
Hmm.
We're just
Yeah, I heard about that, but I hadn't like read up on it because Erica mentioned it briefly in our meeting, and I'm like, huh. And apparently it's something about the stories. I'm like, well, I know I'm scheduled for a meeting, but
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just gonna talk. Like whatever she asked me, I'm just gonna talk. That's
Yeah, no,
awesome.
like,
Oh, I'm so happy you guys are doing that. Like
yeah,
I feel like our story needs to be heard, like from
yeah.
different perspectives for sure.
I had
Um,
no clue the program existed until this
it's
internship.
amazing. It's literally great.
Yeah,
It's so awesome. This program is amazing.
yeah,
But what I mean, if you have any questions, you can email me if you need some more follow-up questions. Like I know sometimes like when you're actually doing the work, like you
yeah,
come up with more questions, I don't mind popping on another call or even
yeah,
emailing you the answer. And if you want my information, like since I mean I am older than you, and if I get into law school before
yeah.
you, I'm more than like happy to help you out and stuff.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. You just seem like such an amazing person and like
Oh, thank you.
a
No,
story
thank
and
you. No, it's been awesome. So yeah, just don't hesitate to reach out with, like through email and stuff, and I'll send you my number or my Instagram, whatever you want. I
yeah.
don't really mind.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely be reaching out. I too have to go because I have another
Yeah,
meeting, but thank you so much for meeting me and I hope
thank
you have a great
you.
day.
You too. Bye.